Is that Hooverphonic calling?
It is indeed.
Oh, hey! St. Nicholas is on the line. We are headed to Belgium, and the ambient pop electronic, I don't know how to define them anymore, group Hooverphonic, hype's been building for years about them singing at Eurovision, and now they were meant to go there with the song Release Me, whose name I remember because I love it so much. Should we review their song and react? Let's do
Let's
it.
do this.
Release me. Don't say what I already know. Release me. Only trouble steals the show.
Yeah, you guys, Belgians have wanted Hooverphonic at Eurovision for so long. Their music has already gone from St. Nicholas to the world, but the question is, will Release Me have the same success as their earlier tracks? Ed, let's start with you.
Well, for me, this is a song that lacks the initial impact. The truth is that now there are some songs this year that I really do hate, and I start playing, I'm like, please get off my speakers. But it comes on now, and I'm like, yeah, do you know what? I'll listen to you. But my first listen, I was very underwhelmed. You know, it takes a long time to get going. I think the last 15 seconds is beautiful with the orchestra. But, I don't know. So Alex, I believe, was the composer for Scenic in 2018. And that didn't qualify. It was too serious, too subtle. And I think this song suffers from the same issues. And I think lots of broadcasters think that, Eurovision is this trash contest, it's all these upbeat bangers. We're going to send something different. We're going to send a slow ballad and it's going to really stand out. The truth is that nowadays, because of the juries, most countries are actually sending these dark ballads. So if you're going to send one, it needs to be top notch. And for me, it just doesn't quite cut it. So for me, I can respect them as artists. I think they are good artists, but I just don't think they chose a song that is impactful enough to get the European televoters to vote.
Sticking in England, it's Jonathan.
This was one of the earlier ones in the songs to come out, I think. And when I first listened to it, I don't know, I quite liked its subtle charm. But then as more and more and more entries came out, this just fell to the back of my mind. I sort of forgot about it. I had to remind myself that it was sort of there and re-listen to it. And even then, I would just go straight back to the other ones. I do respect Hooverphonic a lot. Some of their other songs I do quite like, and I just don't think this is the right song to be putting forward to Eurovision, which, I don't know, it's hard because I always want to say that you can send anything to Eurovision. We want all genres of music. We want to embrace them all. We want to celebrate them all. But there needs to be some standout moment. There isn't anything here where I would say, yes, that's the 15 seconds that's going to be put in a recap video to help people remember it and want to vote for it. It's all very flat. I don't hate the song, but unfortunately it's just not one that I instantly want to go back to.
What's striking me is that when we do these videos, there's usually a lot of enthusiasm, regardless whether we love or hate a song, but this is just feeling very flat. Porig, why do you think that is?
I have no idea, but I know that the very first moment I heard it, there's the opening bars of it, I was kind of like, ooh, this is really nice. This is going somewhere. And then 3 minutes later, it's like, still waiting for it to arrive. It's very expensive. It's a very expensive lullaby, is essentially what it is. And It is probably my biggest disappointment of this whole year because when Hooverphonic were announced, it was early in the season. We didn't have much else to do, so I was able to kind of look into their back catalogue and check out some of their music. And even their last single, I think it was their last single immediately before this one, was one called Romantic. And that has like life to it and a bit of jizz, and they have a very good song with Madame Monsieur. But this is just, it goes nowhere, and I think they were trying to capture kind of the essence of the common linnets or Salvador Sobral or Duncan Lawrence, but they've missed the mark completely. This would be perfectly acceptable on an album track, and you could have it playing in the lounge, and it would be nice filler in between singles, but this is not a single, and it is most definitely not a Eurovision song because there is nothing there to vote for. The only way this could be on the Eurovision stage is if it was the soundtrack to a postcard or something. It's not, it doesn't have something votable in it. This kind of music can work, but not this song.
I'll tell you why this video feels flat. It's because of the song. Ultimately, a song needs to stir something in people, whether that's excitement, whether that's sadness, whether something. I just feel nothing. I respect that she's got a beautiful voice. This is obviously well produced, well composed, all of that. But to me, it sounds like something the broadcaster wanted as opposed to something the artist wanted. Yes, they created it. Yes, it has their signature. But they're edgier than this. They're able to do things more out of the box than this. This was them kind of cutting off their toes to spite their foot. What's the phrase? Cutting off your nose to spite your face. You know, it's from The Devil Wears Prada. I'm not going to cut off my toes to fit into that stiletto. That kind of idea. But they've done exactly that. It's just meh. And I think this is a huge opportunity for them. Alex Callier, the singer, has already said that perhaps next year he will return with a more happy song, a happier, upbeat song, potentially. And I do hope they do, because this just sounds like so many other takes on Rise Like a Phoenix. And I know people are going to be like, they sound nothing alike. I'm talking about the Bond genre, right? But even Bond has moved on. Did one of you say it? It's now Billie Eilish. Bond is no longer just strings. Bond now can have edge too, and I hope they find their edge. Give us the Bond anthem with edge. Actually, don't even give us a Bond anthem. Just do your thing. Give us something upbeat and happy, and you'll avoid this mess. I don't know how you could have saved this at Eurovision. You couldn't have saved this, no matter how expensive your staging. Like, I'm sorry, and I hate to be harsh, but the final point for me, Debin and I film reaction videos to everything, right? We didn't do one for this. And then I was like, oh goodness. But then I realized we did do one, but it was so unmemorable, we never published it. So it's like, and this is coming from someone who is hungry to put content out there. In any case, why don't we go around and give our scores out of 10 along with a justification, Ed?
So for me, unfortunately, it is a 3. As we all said, it just fails to conjure any emotion in me. It's not a badly written song, it's not trash, but it just doesn't, it just leaves me feeling cold. And like you say, William, I am feeling optimistic about next year. You know, they've said they can have a new attitude. They're not bad songwriters. But I do think, you know, I think a lot of countries this year have messed up on their internal selections. And I think if people are going to learn from their mistakes, you know, if you're make the most of being internally selected for next year, you Hooverphonic, and give us a choice of songs, you know, make it a bit edgy, make it a bit memorable, mix things up a bit. And I do believe this band could do really well at Eurovision, but this song is very bland.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've pretty much covered it all. I do think this would have struggled to qualify, unfortunately. I gave this a 5.5 out of 10. I respect Hooverphonic so much, and I really, really want them to do well next year. So, yeah, really just, you know, you've got over a year now to think of something else for 2021. So there's, you know, lots of space to think outside the box, and hopefully, fingers crossed, next year's Belgium Wiwi jury video will be on a lighter tone.
If this song was a country on the international stage, it would be Switzerland, because it has lots of money, but it's completely neutral, that it doesn't stir any emotions in me, good or bad. So with that, I have no choice but to give it a 5 slap bang in the middle.
My score is also a 5. Middle of the road. Again, I say this all the time. Kate Middleton wardrobe, flight attendant. Safe, appeals to everybody, not high impact enough. Jill Sander. Have you been to a Jill Sander store? Everything's like a black drape. It looks great once, but after several black drapes, you're like, all I see is black drapes. And I kind of feel like I don't know I've seen too many of these black drape songs. I need some personality. Cut the hem, rip it, shred it. My score is a 5. In any case, we are not the only Wiwi bloggers. There are dozens of us all over the world, and indeed under some bridges, and we have all rated the songs. And what we do, and we take an average, the overall global average is a 6.1, which I think is really high. How many Belgians do we have on our team?
1, and she wasn't on the Wiwi jury.
Well, look, it is quality, so maybe this probably reflects people's respect for the artists, because they are great artists.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the musical merit, but the thing is, this always would have struggled in the televote, like Zenik did. She got through easy peasy on the jury, but in the televote, I think she came about 16th, and I do think it would have been a similar fate with this one, unfortunately.
The thing about Zenik was her song was leagues above this. I have a feeling that she even topped or was very close to topping the Wiwi jury for 2018, and that fell apart with the staging. And that song had life to it. It stirred emotions. This one doesn't.
Well, that's what we think. What do you think? Was there a chance for Belgium to make the final with this Hooverphonic song? Let us know here on Wiwi Blogs.
Don't forget to give us a like down there.
Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when our next videos come out.
Follow us on all the social networks at Wiwi Blogs.
And we will see you later.
Bye.